Howdy, friends, and welcome back to the Daily Weekly, broadcasting here from KCIW 100.7, community radio for the Wild Rivers Coast. I'm your host, Dakota Daly, and we are coming to you live from the traditional and unceded territory of the Chetco and Tututni people. You're tuned in for an hour of hot takes and hot tracks, and today's episode is a deep one. We're calling it Memory Holes in Manufactured Backlash. Now, that might sound like a mouthful, but stick with me. Today's playlist actually came from one of our listeners, one of our OG fans who's been supporting this production since before it was even an idea, really. And they sent along a piece of writing that, well, it reads like a dispatch from the last 70 years of American political history, told through the eyes of someone who's been paying very close attention. This episode is about how memory gets lost or taken, how media spins truth into noise, and how much every time we get a glimpse of progress, there's a whiplash and a backlash. From the civil rights movement to the digital age, it's the same story told with new tools, new tactics, new algorithms, but the same old greed. But it's also about resistance and the people who see through the fog. Songwriters who take our grief, our confusion, and our outrage and turn it into something sharp, something honest, something you can hum while the world burns. We're starting with songs from the 60s and working our way forward. You'll hear protest ballads, political anthems, and poetic warnings, all from artists who had something to say, even when the powers that be tried to drown it all out.
Well, I guess I've had purposes and needs of others throughout most of my adult life. And I've responded to them, hopefully, in a positive manner of articulating these particular problems and these particular needs. And I believe that what we have here in Brookings at this time is a dimming, I guess you'd say, of the spirit of Brookings that I found when I came here. And it grew as I was here, not because of me, but it just grew around me. And it encouraged me to do things like my artwork. Probably a dozen times I drove by Compass Rose, which was at the other location on the other side of the theater. I never stopped. I don't think I actually recognized it as a cafe. But one day, something caused me to pull into the parking lot. And I got out of my car. So I walked right by Compass Rose, and I looked and I said, oh, maybe I'll stop there and get maybe they have mocha there or something, espresso or whatever. So I went on my way to the movie theater. I came back and I walked in, and here was this lady standing by the door. And she said good morning and invited me in, and I came in and I asked her about what she had on the menu, and I said, I just need coffee. And so she described what coffees they had. And so I said, I really would like a mocha. And I sat down at a table that was right by the window. There's one here too, but not the same. So I would pull out my little sketchings, and I would sit by the window and I would doodle around. And then I guess it was my doodling that got their attention. And so I gave them prints of whatever they liked. I gave them a print of it. Then a tragedy happened when they were forced to leave their other location. They told me where this location was, and I came over and took a look and realized that this looked like something like bombed out in Berlin or something after World War II. And I said, whoa, boy, this is interesting. So they explained to me the process of how it was going to be made into a cafe. And once there were tables over there, and once they had their setup back to make coffee, and they weren't open for business, I would come every day and order a mocha and sit by the window and do my doodles before they were opening. And so I saw it through all the turmoil, trouble, setbacks, and all the other things of getting this place to where it is today, which is a very nice place. And what is wonderful about this location, and what's even more amazing about the family that runs it and operates it, is that it's so appealing because of the people that work here. My name is Jamie Henley, and I'm an unfinished artist. And I am here at my studio, which is in the Compass Rose Cafe. And the family that owns the cafe allows me to spread out all of my things and to work on my artwork as well as I can. Most of the time I take up a big table like this. Sometimes I'll take up 2 small ones, and sometimes I'll take up 1 small one. And this is Natalie, who is one of the owners.
Hi, I'm Natalie. As he said, my family and I own the Compass Rose Cafe, and as much as Jamie likes being here, we adore having him here. He has become a fixture for us. It's been a few years now. I love the spirit he brings to the cafe. I don't mind that he takes up a whole table because there's always a new story, always something new to see, always some new detail that I can make out in a picture I've seen a million times before. Our customers love him too. We've got travelers from all over the world that I see on a daily basis. We'll just go look over his shoulder and ask him what he's doing, and from that comes another magical story. I can't imagine Compass Rose without Jamie, to be honest with you.
And her daughter Chloe came over with a very delicious mocha and put it down, put a napkin down, explained what it was and how she made it. And then she said, "Welcome to Compass Rose." Every day, every morning, she would introduce to me new styles of mocha. And so after a while, she began putting numbers on them. And she put it behind the bar on the wall, and it was numbers from 6 through 10. So when I came in, they would ask me, whoever was behind the counter, "What number, Jamie?" And I would say 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whichever one it was. And they would look at the wall and see how it was made, and then bring me that cup.
Custom mochas.
Yes.
Oh, Chloe could rattle off better than I, but some entail extra shots of espresso if he needs a extra kick.
Yeah.
If he's feeling a little sweeter, sometimes he'll come in and say a number that indicates a little more cocoa or a little more flavor.
Yeah.
What else? Sometimes it's the technique, how we
Yes.
steam the milk, or if we put the cocoa in the milk first or do it later.
Exactly.
He's got all sorts of moods to him that we accommodate.
The problem that I have when I come in and get a mocha is I look at what's created on top of the cup, and I try very carefully not to destroy it. And I sip it very carefully, and move it around a little bit here, a little bit there, because I want to be able to see the artwork as I'm drinking.
So fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it
sometimes
works.
it's a stencil, sometimes it's latte art, depending on what milk he's asked for the day. But yeah, the girls
And-
have fun with Jamie.
And then they'll put, say it's a number 6, they'll put little something across hearts sometimes stars across, and there'll be 6 of them. And then there'll be one beautiful one in the center. And so we have artists here that do it on coffee.
already melted the chocolate just to save time. That's the good milk. Oh, spilled a little. That's part of the process. It's a little messy heart. And then if you want to get the little, we can make a little rainbow. Just like that. Yeah.
I was with the same company for about 11 years, and I was laid off due to the pandemic, and we asked ourselves, what could be better than working from home during this time we're all needing to stay in? Maybe we should work outside the home, but with each other. And so we had been camping up and down the Oregon coast for years, and we discovered Brookings at one point and loved the weather, loved the sea stacks, decided to come here for about a week, and we stayed out here in our RV as a family. And at the end of that week, in the summer of 2020, we all looked at each other and we said, can you imagine living here? What do you think of being here? And all of us, every single one of us, the kids, my husband, myself, we all felt like a magnet was pulling us here. So we took steps to move out here, and we were going to bring our Italian ice business out here. And during all this transition, we noticed the cafe for sale, and we said, hey, let's take a stab at running a cafe. I don't know why we said that. My family didn't know why we said that. Everyone thought we were crazy. You're buying a what in the middle of a what, And so we did it. And we bought the cafe from Rose Kretzer, and she started a wonderful thing at the old location. We ran it for a couple years there until we ran into some trouble. Our lease was expiring in May of 2023, and unfortunately our landlord at the time did not want to renew our lease without raising the rent pretty dramatically, and we of course couldn't afford it. So in this small town, there was nowhere to go, nothing turnkey to move to, so we tearfully packed up our whole restaurant and we put it in storage for a few months. The day we were closing, we had so many people show up, some of them in tears themselves. Lots of hugs, lots of sorries. I'm so sorry this happened to you. Are you gonna come back up? One closed door will open another, and all of those positive things you hear when you're going through a tragedy. And it was very, very hard to believe that something good could come out of it. We kept remembering that feeling of being pulled here by a magnet and wondering what it all meant if it all ended in this, But Brookings showed that Brookings spirit that Jamie was referring to earlier, and people came out of the woodwork and they showed their support, helped us with meals, helped us financially here and there, helped look for places to move to. What about this place? What about this place? Every place took work. One day, the owner of the bookstore, his name is Mark, and he owns Folksel Books here. He approached me one of the last days we were cleaning out the old place, and he said, Natalie, take a walk with me. I want to show you something. Okay, Mark. So we walk down to the end of this corner, and he points at this little shack here, this little cottage. I'm like, okay, Mark, cool, that's a cute little house. Where's this going? And he said, my landlord that owns the bookstore building, he also owns that little cottage next door, and he's been wanting to turn it into a cafe for a few years. And I think you two should talk. Okay, well, I talked to my husband, and we showed up, and we noticed a security camera in the back of the building one night, and we pointed our faces at it and started yelling at it and said, "Hey, we want to talk, we're interested." And a few days later, we got a phone call from Carl, the owner of this house. And he said, "Let's talk. I've been curious about maybe starting a bed and breakfast or a cafe here. And I've been to Compass Rose and I've been impressed with other things I've seen, and I want to see if we can make something work." So we came in here, and the very first time we came in here, it was daunting. There was, you could see down into the bedrock in the corner over here. There was rotten walls. There was slug trails across the floor. I remember one point during the beginning, I walked in and there was a snake on the floor because there were some holes in the building we had to fix at first. But it took about 3-4 months, but together, working with Carl, who is also a general contractor, so he had these wonderful skills, we made a wonderful thing happen. My girls and I, my husband, my son, we learned how to paint. We learned words like fascia and soffits, and learned how to work with concrete and paint and stain. And over the course of 3-4 months working with Carl, we turned this into a little cafe. It's a 110-year-old building. It was built in 1914, something like that, and it was originally a mule shoeing barn. And even before we started painting the walls, we felt a spirit in here. Through the years, this cafe or this house has been, let's see, I mentioned mule shoeing barn. It was also a shoe store all through the 60s. That's been really cute. There are still times when I will be helping a customer and I've had, these cute little old ladies come to the counter, and in fact, one day I was taking the order of this woman, and in the middle of her order, she kind of shut down on me. She kind of got quiet, and I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "I'm so sorry, I'm having a moment here. I remember buying my first pair of Sunday shoes on that wall over there."
Wow.
When she was a little girl, and I got goosebumps. It was so neat. And then over the course of the next few weeks, I would have these other groups of ladies in, and they'd say, "Excuse me, did you know this used to be a shoe store?" I thought it was so cute. I'm like, yeah, it's wonderful. It's been a photo lab. It's been a therapy office. It's been a chiropractic office. I got told by one person that their uncle was born over here in this corner. But yeah, people have been born in this room. Lots of things have happened in this place. And I'm so happy that it can now be a cafe, because it still represents a place that Brookings can gather and memories can be made.
I feel like it's like your paintings, JB.
Yes.
Because you can look into the cup and it's what you interpret it is.
Yes.
If you see a bird, then it's a bird.
That's right.
If you see a tulip, then it's a tulip.
Mm-hmm.
It really is in the eye of the beholder.
Of the
I'll
beholder.
try something, but it's up to you to determine what it is. But yeah.
Yeah, we have a good relationship. I'm sure happy that you're able to develop all your artistic skills in many different ways. So
Yeah.
that's good. And the coffee is definitely a skill.
Yeah.
Because there aren't, well, I guess in Paris there was one coffee house I used to go to, and they had an area in there, and it was for poets, writers, artists, and actors, whatever. That it was reserved basically for those people. And when I went in, a friend of mine who was a sculptor was in there, and he motioned me over to the table, and the owner came over and said, "Comme ça, qu'est-ce que c'est?" And he's speaking, asking, "Who am I?" and who is this guy, and everything else. And so I just opened my stuff and put it on. He said, "Ah," and he wrote down my name, and he said, "You're on the list." So when I came in, so I could go over to the corner, it worked.
Yeah. It sounds very, it sounds like a Renaissance space, all of the art,
Yeah.
you know, and coffee included.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't that the catalyst for
Yes,
the Renaissance?
a lot
Is
of it.
people drinking coffee and philosophizing together while being on the highs of caffeine and
Right,
espresso
yeah.
shots? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's our space.
When we were shut down during those 4 months, I was heartbroken. I thought of all the people like Jamie that came every day and relied on us as a place to get their breakfast, get their sustenance, be seen by somebody.
Well, this is our list for Jamie and our other customers, hence why it says customer usuals. The middle part here is all of Jamie's different stars that he gets every day, as to make sure my other baristas make it the same way every time. All the different ingredients and different ways of making it. And stuck with sugar, with some syrup, but that's a new star as of this last week. A new star that Jamie and my other baristas created. So it's ever changing, but this is really it. It's nothing fancy. It's a nice old guest check. Oh, yeah, there's a number 8 there. That's the extra chocolate and 2 extra shots of espresso. That's the fancy one. I think that's why it's kind of bolder, to make sure the girls really get it right, because he needs a kick on number 8 days. Like 8. That's it though. Okay.
She puts something on the top. Usually it'll be, well, it could be birds. A couple times I saw birds, right? And then stars, and what was the other thing I saw? I can't remember. And so if you count those around, that's the number of the coffee. So that's what it is. So you have to count them. And
It was a 6. It's not a 6 anymore.
I look in and I say, oh, well, this is, and I count them.
And those 4 months were very hard because we couldn't provide that space. I think I mentioned it before. Jamie and I would meet at the local grocery store at their little coffee center just to sit down and do this. He would do his art and he would tell us stories, and I would be there for him, and we would think and dream and hope that maybe we could have another place to do that without the beeps of cash registers and things like that in the background. But sure enough, in about 4 months, we got this place all ready to go. We weren't quite open yet. We had about another month of some setup we had to do. But Jamie started coming again. And we had a table set up over there by the window, and he'd lay out his art. And we had our espresso machine finally set up again and able to make mochas. And Jamie would come in once again every day and lay out his art and tell his stories and drink our mocha. And it just felt so much better here. It was our place. We built it from the ground up, and he was there every step of the way, lifting us on days when it was really hard. Sorry. But it just means so much to me that he was there at the old place, here at the new place, and he just belongs here. And I know tables mean money, but to me, one table in particular is always saved for Jamie, and it just doesn't matter. He belongs here. I would say he's like a good luck charm. Absolutely.
Well, I'm glad to be a good luck charm.
Hey.
Who's here? My goodness. Can we do a little clink? Okay.
Well, hey Jamie.
Hi. My favorite mocha maker.
Yeah.
She makes a lot of different mochas, and she's got a lot of talent to do it. And she writes them down, too. She puts them down on paper, so
I brought the list.
she brought the list.
Yeah. Our sweet producer thought it was going to be a proper, like, you know, laminated, beautiful thing, a list, but no. It's an old guest check that's dirty and gross. It has.
It's probably about 4 years old,
Yeah.
5 years old.
We just started another page.
Oh, another
Oh,
page.
it was stuck by syrup. We started another page just this week for a new number that was created. But that's our list for Jamie. And it's customer usuals. So we have other ones on there, but as you can see, it's mostly Jamie. But
Well, you experiment,
yeah.
and sometimes when you come in, and when I know you're here, I ignore everybody else and say, well, can you make me a new mocha?
Yeah.
And then the wheels start spinning and she comes up with something else and
Yeah.
brings it over.
There's so many flavors that no one's asked to try, so I could experiment
Yeah, right,
with
exactly.
Jamie.
Yeah.
And we've had some
Yeah.
winners, and that's why we have new numbers.
Yeah, I'm a useful guinea pig. See,
Yeah.
she can experiment on me and know that she won't get any repercussions or
Yeah.
something like that.
I don't know what else to say. One thing that we tried to keep in mind when we were rebuilding this place, I've always been enamored with this concept of hygge. It's a Scandinavian Norwegian concept of coziness and comfort. It basically means think of foggy days and warm blankets and a cup of tea and reading a book, being with a best friend and having soulful conversations. It's that feeling of belonging and content. And when I was building this place, I had that in my heart and soul the whole time. How can people walk through the door and feel like they belong, no matter who they are? How can the colors make them feel calm? How can the food make them feel good when they eat it? How can the drink satisfy them perfectly? We tried to think of every detail, but at the end of the day, it is absolutely about feeling cozy and content and mindful and present of the moment you're in and forgetting the rest of the world. And Jamie brings that too. He's part of that content and that magic and that coziness in here. I just love it. I love you, Jamie.
You too. Well, I think that's about all we can say. I don't think there's much else that I can add to what she just said. So, if you haven't been here, I suggest that you come to Compass Rose Cafe
in Brookings,
in
Oregon.
Brookings, Oregon.
Yes.
And it's right close to the ocean.
The ocean and the redwoods. There's no more beautiful place on earth.
Yeah. Perfect. Go ahead, Jamie. Take a sip.
Okay.
Howdy, friends, and welcome back to the Daily Weekly, broadcasting here from KCIW 100.7, community radio for the Wild Rivers Coast. I'm your host, Dakota Daly, and we are coming to you live from the traditional and unceded territory of the Chetco and Tututni people. You're tuned in for an hour of hot takes and hot tracks, and today's episode is a deep one.